Rain lashed down, icy and relentless. Wind howled through skeletal trees, echoing eerily. John huddled deeper into his thin jacket, shivering. The street was empty, slick with rain, deserted. He checked his watch again, growing impatient. Midnight, right on time. Where was the bus? He shifted his weight, anxiety twisting in his gut. This was a mistake. He should have walked. A flash of lightning illuminated a nearby bus stop sign. John hadn't noticed it before. As the thunder rumbled, he saw something else. Scrawled beneath the bus schedule, almost invisible under the grime, were the words, "Beware the midnight ride." John's blood ran cold. What did it mean? The cryptic message he had received earlier that day echoed in his mind, a puzzle he couldn't solve. He glanced around, seeking another human being, anyone to share this moment with. The streets were eerily empty, as if the city itself was holding its breath. Nothing, just the relentless rain and the whispering shadows. The silence was deafening, broken only by the occasional drip of water from the rooftops. Suddenly, twin beams of light cut through the darkness. They seemed to pierce the very soul of the night, bringing with them a sense of foreboding. A low rumble grew, echoing off the wet pavement. It was a sound that seemed to come from another time, another world. A bus, ancient and looming, emerged from the gloom. Its headlights flickered, casting eerie shadows on the wet ground. It shuddered to a stop in front of him. The sound of its brakes was like a dying gasp, a final breath before silence. The doors hissed open, releasing a blast of cold, stale air. John hesitated. The interior was dimly lit, shadows dancing on the worn seats. The bus looked like it hadn't seen a mechanic in decades. Rust and grime covered its surface. A relic from a forgotten era, the warning on the sign flashed in his mind. It was a stark reminder of the danger that lurked in the shadows. But what choice did he have? He was already late. The clock was ticking, and he couldn't afford to wait any longer. Taking a deep breath, he boarded the bus. The doors closed behind him with a final ominous thud, sealing his fate. The interior was dim, lit by a single flickering bulb. The light cast eerie shadows that danced on the walls, creating an unsettling atmosphere. Dust motes danced in the stale air, illuminated by the weak light. They seemed to move with a life of their own, adding to the ghostly ambience. The bus was empty except for a handful of passengers, their faces obscured by shadow. Each figure seemed more like a silhouette than a person. They sat unnaturally still, not speaking, not even looking at him. It was as if they were frozen in time, trapped in their own silent world. John sat down near the front, his unease growing with every passing second. He could feel the weight of unseen eyes on him, making his skin crawl. The bus lurched forward, the engine sputtering and groaning like a wounded animal. The sound echoed through the empty bus, amplifying the sense of dread. The rain beat against the windows, a relentless drumming that amplified the silence inside. Each drop seemed to hammer home the isolation he felt. He tried to focus on anything but the eerie silence and the ghostly figures around him. His mind raced, searching for a rational explanation. He looked at his hands, at his watch, at the rain-streaked windows. Time seemed to stretch, each second feeling like an eternity, but he couldn't escape the feeling that something was terribly, terribly wrong. The sense of impending doom was overwhelming, making it hard to breathe. The bus screeched to a halt. John looked up, confused. This wasn't his stop. He had been dozing off, lulled by the rhythmic patter of rain against the windows. He glanced around and realized with a jolt that the other passengers were gone. The bus was empty. He was alone. The eerie silence was unsettling, broken only by the occasional creak of the bus. The doors hissed open, revealing not the familiar street he expected, but a swirling vortex of fog. Panic seized him. He could barely see anything beyond the thick mist. He scrambled for the doors, but they slammed shut, trapping him inside. His heart raced as he pounded on the doors, hoping someone would hear him. Then a voice, raspy and cold, whispered from the darkness behind him, "You should have listened to the sign." John spun around, eyes wide with terror, searching for the source of the voice. The bus, and John with it, vanished into the fog, leaving behind only the echo of the warning, "Beware the midnight ride." The street was silent once more, as if nothing had happened.